Dude, you know the Mean Girls turns 18 this year?
I did not know that.
Yeah, man. I was like looking through it because, like we're old and whatnot, looking at all the stuff that's like turning 20 and 10 years old. And yeah, like Mean Girls came out like in spring of this time around in like 2004. So yeah. Like, so what are your thoughts, man? Like we're
on Mean Girls? I mean, look, that show was huge when I was in, I think it was like 7th grade. Like that movie was everything everyone would talk about, like boys and girls, which was really surprising. It was a great comedy. It was just great.
Yeah, and like I remember it taking off. I don't know if you remember this, but we would watch all the time in high school.
Yeah,
for me, that's when it really took off. For me, it was like high school.
It's one of the most quotable movies of all time. There's so many great lines in there.
That and Superbad were like really quintessential high school movies. They like defined it for me. I speak for myself moving forward. Even though we didn't go to like traditional high school, but like it definitely hit all those marks of like, that's what life is like. But remember the gym teacher that gave that speech?
Gym teacher that gave, wait, what?
The one that's like, don't have sex. And
Mean Girls, right.
And like he got into that whole like, this is like before even Me Too was a thing. He got like nabbed for like for his inappropriate thing with the students in there.
Yeah, that was kind of
over it.
They never went back to that in the movies. Just like he was hooking up with underage girls at the school. Never came up again. So.
And it's played for last. But yeah, we should find that guy. I don't know what you're doing after this, but we should go find him.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to the couch.
Welcome, guys.
Thank you all so much for joining us. I'm Chris.
And I'm Cozy.
And this is the Real Couch Guys podcast. And this episode was sponsored by
Cheez-Its, because they're inoffensive. They won't get you canceled. They're a good snack.
Cheez-Its, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Cheez-Its.
Yeah.
If you're new to this, we are your one-stop shop for movie reviews, news, and all things cinema. So this is how the show breaks down. We spend the first half covering the biggest news stories of the week in the world of movies and entertainment.
Then we go into our movie reviews for this week's newest releases. But first, let's kick things off, as we always do, with this week's box office roundup. What we got, Chris?
All right, this is your box office roundup for March 11th through the 17th. Coming in at number 1, no surprise here, The Batman. With $263 million domestically.
Jeez. Like, how much has it made, like, overall?
Oh, that's a great question. I wish I should have looked that up ahead of time, but I know we've crossed over easily over 300 million at the international.
It is definitely making. I love that, like, a movie like this, it's a big budget superhero movie to kick off 2022 that's making its money, and like, it's not one of those movies what I would say it's a repeat viewing, but I'm glad that folks are getting out to the theaters to give it, its due and give it some money, because it definitely is a great film to watch. And not like, I wouldn't say it's a crowd pleaser, but it's definitely a great cinematic experience. So
yeah, I know,
it's making its money.
And to answer your question, it has already crossed 600 million worldwide, so that is really impressive. I'm super happy for WB. Ooh, that's a good question. Will it hit a billion? It has some really strong legs to it right now.
Not much competition either.
Yeah, exactly. That's the big thing. There's not much competition out. So
at least until, you know what, I'd say this has another week to like cash in, and then next week we got Morbius coming out next week.
Is that next week already?
No, the week after next week.
Week after,
so
okay.
It has this week to make its money, but
okay. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't count it out. It's still possible.
Well, good for that, man.
Yeah, but coming in at number 2, we have Uncharted hanging in there with 117 million. Not bad. We have Dog with 50 million. And unexpected for number 4, we have BTS, Permission to Dance on Stage, Seoul live viewing.
Look, you should not sleep on K-pop and its fans, especially BTS. They're like the biggest K-pop group.
I am shocked at how big K-pop is in the U.S. right now. I know nothing about it. I don't know who the big names are or what.
That's one of them. I don't know much. My girlfriend knows. She loves that stuff. I know BTS, and like remember they're everywhere. They had that McDonald's meal. Remember that?
They have a McDonald's meal?
They had one. McDonald's did a thing where they would like partner with like celebrities, and they were like one of like few, like, I wouldn't say like non-American, but yeah, internationally known.
But like, is it just like a typical boy band though? Like they're just singing and dancing on stage, right?
Yeah. So K-pop definitely take a lot of cues from like mid 2000s.
Okay.
It's like
there you go.
And spin.
Okay.
So,
well, hey, more power to them. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, what is it? Their total gross, they're looking at 6 million right now. So great job for them.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we have Spider-Man: No Way Home coming in at rounding out your top 5 with $794 million domestically.
Can people
that
just
is incredible.
stop giving Spider-Man money?
Spider-Man wants all the money, and
Batman needs love too, you know.
Batman does need love.
Morbius needs some coming out, you know. But no, I'm just glad to see No Way Home. It's all, literally in like a couple weeks. It'll be on video, hard copy.
That's
I
crazy.
think it'll still be in theaters, still making money.
Like, I'm shocked what Sony was able to achieve with that film. I don't think anyone could have seen it doing this well. You know, this is just incredible.
The hype kind of gave us a sense of like how big this will be, but again,
Right,
none of
that's
us
true.
thought
That's
it'll
true.
be like a number 2 all time. But
Yeah.
the hype definitely like gave us a little sense. But this is great.
Yeah. Well, I mean, all right, folks. That was your box office roundup for the week, and
Chris.
with that out of the way, let's hop straight into our movie news.
All right, let's see what
So,
we got.
Coast, what do you got up first for us?
Let's see here. Oh, I thought I had my show notes, but it were not up. Now they are. So, cousin Chris, you like D&D, right?
I'm curious about D&D.
Bit of a dungeon master, would you say?
Yeah.
That's like the only term I know. But you know, but
We don't know the terms.
yeah, like so the you know so the ever so popular D&D property is getting another film adaptation. They had another one back in the early 2000s.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Had,
Not great. Not great.
There's some pretty big name actors. What's his name? The guy that voiced Scar.
Jeremy Irons was in
Jeremy Irons
it. Marlon Wayans was in
Yeah.
it, and I think they're the only 2 actors that survived that. I don't.
Yeah, so like it's been years since that, and you know, so we have some insight, and so we're getting some insight now in the tone of this new one that they're creating. Paramount is actually making a brand new iteration of this. So one of its stars, Chris Pine, recently spoke about the film, and here's what he had to say about it. According to our friends from Screen Rant, Chris Pine said, "Oh man, well, what I'll say is that we had a hell of a time. We had a hell of a lot of fun making it. There were a lot of laughs. The way that we've been describing it is Game of Thrones mixed with a little Princess Bride, with just a smidge of Holy Grail. That's Monty Python. Is somewhere in that ballpark. It's a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of thrills. It's poppy. It's 80s heartfelt, and there's a bit of Goonies in there. My character, he's the ultimate party planner. I think it's going to be really good. I mean, who fucking knows? But I think we got a good shot, and John are killer guys. They know comedy and they know heart, and we have a great cast, and we had a great time making it, and it's all you can ask for." So Pine, he leads this ensemble cast, which includes Michelle Rodriguez, Justice Smith, Rage Jean Page, he's the black dude from Bridgerton, Sophia Lillis, and Hugh Grant. And this Dungeons and Dragons reboot was delayed previously, but it's scheduled now to come out in March of next year. So, cousin Chris, what do you think? Chris Pine has said it's D&D. It needs Game of Thrones. What do you think?
You know, this quote kind of gives me some pause. I'm not sure how I feel about this. Hold on here. You got Holy Grail, Princess Bride. I didn't know we were leaning so heavily into the humor in this one. That's a little unexpected for me.
Yeah. My only pause is just I have nothing wrong with this great, delicious plate of gumbo that they're trying to make with this movie. My only problem is just all the ingredients. Here's what I'll offer, because again, I don't know what they're doing, but I think here's why he's going to say this. Take like Vox Machina, for instance.
Right.
That's basic D&D campaign that we're seeing.
Right, and so that's true. We have seen this work as a comedy, right?
Yeah,
so that's fair. That's fair.
Kind of go with that route, but also, again, this is me throwing it out there. What if he's saying it's because I see this as like, what if it's a bunch of friends that have, kind of gotten away from each other? They got older. They used to play this when they were kids. Time has passed. They're older. They're parents. They just haven't gotten a chance to get back. They're all brought back together to play this game, kind of Jumanji style, but they're brought back together.
Wait, sorry, is that what this movie is?
No, I'm just speculating with what I'm thinking.
Oh,
I'm thinking that's why he's saying all these, because
I thought it was just going to be like straight up we're in this fantasy world. I didn't know they're going to have like maybe a framing where it's a bunch of guys getting together to play the game.
Yeah, because that's how Princess Bride is. Princess Bride is an old man telling his grandson the story.
Oh, I didn't even catch that. That's brilliant.
And it slips out. It's like, oh, Grandpa, this really happened? Like, no, son. And then it'll go back in. So I think what they're going to do is they'll have Chris Pine, Michelle Rodriguez outside. They get together, and then they'll play as themselves in the world we see, and I guess that'll add for some hilariousness. But
Okay, actually, if that's the way they're doing it, then I'm on board with that. I thought like we were gonna have like a straight up fantasy world, and it's just kind of like a silly comedy as well. And I didn't think that was gonna work. At least not for me personally.
Right, and like I like the fact they threw Game of Thrones there to give us a sense of the look and the feel,
Right?
like how,
Yeah.
like, that fantasy world will be. But like Vox Machina did, it's all about tone.
Right.
It's all about how you can like balance the two. Yeah, I think you can definitely be funny, be goofy, because it's a board game, but also when stuff needs to get real, it can get real. And I think, not to say that they can't do this, but I think the fact that Chris Pine is name dropping all these is like he's more so going for, this is the inspiration. This is where we're trying to go for with these. So he's trying to pick a lot of properties that we know to help. That's where I'm coming from in that.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I just
But we don't know. That's me speculating.
yeah, the comedy gives me pause because personally, I was looking forward to seeing a more grounded version of D&D. You know, something that does a bit better what the first one tried to do back in the the early 2000s, right? But if it's like you said, where it's like, oh, the group of friends getting together, playing the game, and kind of hilarity ensues, and get to see like kind of their banter and their back and forth as they play, that sounds actually really cool. That sounds fun.
Yeah, and another thing also is the guys that directing this, John Francis Daly and his directing partner, I forgot the other guy's name. They directed Game Night. I don't know if you saw.
Oh, I did see Game Night. That was an unexpected.
That was them.
Diamond right there. That was great.
One of my favorite movies of 2018 when it came out, and they did a good job of like having a great group of characters, having like a really emotional like through line of like, you know, again, people get away from each other and bringing people back and trying to like reconnect. So I love that aspect of it, and I think they're gonna bring those sensibilities to a D&D movie because again, you know. Yeah, D&D it's a fantasy world with like dragons and swords and like power-ups and whatnot, but you know, it's still a game and it still should be fun. I still want there to be an element of fun to there. So me personally, when I hear Holy Grail or Princess Bride, I'm not too put off. I just hope they can like mix that whole dish together to
right. Hopefully it forms a cohesive whole, right?
That's
yeah.
what I hope.
So, well, before we move on, real quick, let me ask you: you're hearing these two different pitches, right? One where it's like in the grounded fantasy world where things are dark and gritty, and they're actually trying to save the world, and this one where it's kind of like friends getting together and they're playing the game or watching them play, and it's kind of a bit more comedy. Do you have a preference between the two? Which you'd rather see? Because personally, I would have loved to see the grounded D&D fantasy worlds like angle to it, but this comedy one, it doesn't sound bad. It doesn't.
Well, I think you don't really. I think D&D is. It's neither of the two, because I think if we go just pure what you said earlier, the fantasy round. Now we're getting into Lord of the Rings, and you don't want to touch.
Oh, you think it'll be too heavily compared?
You don't want to go there. But the thing about D&D is like it's a game. It's about like, and the heart of it is people getting together and creating a story together and having it be a communal experience.
Got
so
you.
I think they're going to lead into not only like the subject matter of you have like elves and and mages and whatnot. You'll have that, but also the movie will definitely go to the core of what D&D is for a lot of people, and it's a way they connect and stay connected. I think that's going to be the big. Again, I don't know this, but I think that's going to be a big like through line and heart of this movie. Like was sticking together with your friends and having fun. So I think you can have both.
Okay.
You can definitely have both. You don't have to pick between the two, and I don't think they should pick between. They should be able to like hopefully balance both.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I'm excited for this angle now. I had my doubts early on, but it actually sounds like it'd be really cool to watch. So let's see what happens.
The cast is great too. I have to mention.
That's true. It's a great cast.
Very great cast. And I love the fact that Chris Pine had a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward. So what we got next, Captain Chris?
All right, next up, Nick Fury is back, ladies and gentlemen. This is coming to us from comicbookmovies.com.
Nice.
So Samuel L. Jackson is filming his scenes for Secret Invasion, The Marvels, and Ant-Man 3 all at once. This is crazy, all at the same time. Okay. In a recent podcast interview, Mr. Jackson was quoted as saying, "It used to take a while to make a movie, but people make two or three of them at a time now. In the Marvel Universe, it's crazy. When I was in London, it was Antman and the Wasp, Quantumania, The Marvels, and Secret Invasion. It was like 3 Marvel movies on one lot. I was kind of running around from place to place." So, Kosi, you're hearing this story now. Samuel Jackson is apparently filming all 3 of these at the same time, the Secret Invasion show as well as the Marvels the Marvels movie, the sequel to Captain Marvel, and Ant-Man 3. What do you think? You excited to see Nick Fury come back to us?
Well, yeah, obviously, yes. Whenever Sam Jackson comes back into the MCU, I'm always excited. But how old is this guy?
That's a great question.
This guy is like,
let's look that up right now, because
he's a motor on him that I don't even have. Yeah, if you can pull that up for me, how old?
Yeah, 73 years old.
My goodness,
wow.
He's as old as our president, and this guy is running from lot to lot.
Yeah, just filming his scenes. It's really impressive.
Look, like after Far From Home, we found out where he was. He
right.
was off world, and he was on what we can assume is a sword base.
Right, he was setting up Sword with the Skrulls. Yeah.
And then in WandaVision, we got another little hint, like where with Monica meeting the Skrull at the end of WandaVision, and they're gonna go up and meet him. So we're getting hints as to like where Nick Fury is and what he's been doing. So the fact we're going to get like a big dose of Nick Fury, so you said we have the Marvels that's coming out next year. Secret Invasion, I believe that's this year, right? Did that come out this year?
Oh, I do not know.
I guess either way, we're about to get like a big dose of Nick Fury in the next like year or so after like almost a 3-year hiatus, and I'm glad. I want to be able to see where he's been at, how he's going to reestablish himself as, I guess, the de facto leader of the MCU. He was the guy that kind of expanded the world.
Yeah, he assembled the team.
Yeah, he blew it up in 2008 when he told Tony he wasn't the only superhero in the world, and now brought the Avengers together. So now we're seeing him doing a lot of, I guess, more off-world things, and I want to be able to see that. So I love the fact we're getting more of him, and the fact that and also the kinds of projects he's doing. I knew he was going to be in the Marvels. I knew he was going to be in Secret Invasion, but Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah, and that's what kind of surprised me too. How does he fit into Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania? That's really interesting, because obviously with WandaVision, with Captain Rambo, a Skrull comes and recruits her because she says basically Nick Fury sent me.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we knew Secret Invasion. Do we know the storyline for Secret Invasion?
All I know is from the comics, and it's about how our heroes uncover a conspiracy that shows that there are actually Skrulls hidden throughout society, and that's the comics.
That was something I was really excited to see. Like, I thought that was going to be like the crux of Phase 4, honestly, but then they kind of relegated it to this miniseries, which was a little disappointing because, I mean, the Skrulls, as far as we've seen so far in the MCU, they're the good guys, right? They help our heroes.
Yes.
And so it looks like we're dealing with bad subfraction of them that have snuck into the world, and they've kidnapped some people. Maybe
remember
I don't know.
In Far From Home when Talos, who was
pretending to be Nick Fury, right?
He said that there were sleeper cells. So it's kind of been.
Did he say that?
It was a throwaway line in No Way Home, but he said in Far From Home, but he said yes. That how come I didn't know? How come no one told me that there were Skrull sleeper cells on Earth?
Gotcha. Because back when Endgame was coming out, I was like, okay, one of the Avengers is going to die, right? Or maybe 2 or 3 of them, and then when they die, they're going to transform into a Skrull, and it's going to shock us, and we're going to lead us straight into Phase 4. But we didn't see that, so. I'm glad they haven't thrown away the storyline completely. I can't wait to see what they actually do with it. Oh, speaking of which, the release date is supposedly, for now, February of 2023.
Okay.
So not too far off.
All right.
Yeah.
To answer your question, though, it looks like they're going more multiverse than Skrulls. I think the Skrulls are like not even the biggest threat to anything right now.
Yeah, no, it definitely seems that way. And I mean, I'm sure whatever else they have planned for Phase 4 is going to be even more exciting, hopefully, right? So
I think, though, just before we move on, for Ant-Man and the Wasp, I have no insider information on this.
Throw out a theory.
But I think the reason why he's in there is to give us a way to introduce Fantastic Four.
Really?
And hear me out. Because Nick Fury is on Sword, he's in space.
Mm-hmm.
I think this iteration of the Fantastic Four will be Agents of Sword. It'll be their mission to space that they get hit by the cosmic rays and all that will be a sword mission. It'll be a sword mission.
Gotcha.
And so we may even see in Quantum, because it's been heavily rumored that we're going to see some hint or even a member of the F4 in Quantumania. So I think we're going to see them. We could very well see Reed. Maybe we could see Reed, Storm, Johnny, and Ben all together, or maybe just 2 of them, or maybe just 1 of them, or even a mention. But I think we're gonna get Sam in there to kind of give us, because he's always the guy that introduces us to like new people or gets us
right. That's fair.
The world.
That's
so
fair.
What better person to do than Nick Fury. Again, it's speculation, clearly speculation, but I think that's why he's in there, because we have to start like laying the groundwork for a Fantastic Four as soon as possible.
And then we also have, of course, Multiverse of Madness is coming May 6th, I believe, and
Yes, May 6th.
and people are saying that we're going to see Reed Richards for the first time there, right? Possibly played by John Krasinski.
Yeah, it'll be a multiversal Reed Richards. It won't be
But it
the
won't.
MCU.
Right. So that's the thing. We'll have to see how they play that out. But yeah, no, I can't wait to see what Nick Fury brings us next. You know,
Always glad to see Sam Jackson in movies. Love that guy.
Yeah.
So,
What's next up on the block, man?
yeah, I got this. She liked Play-Doh, right?
Used to love it.
Used to love it. What happened?
I had to grow old and get a job.
Yeah, well, you can still play with Play-Doh, and John M. Chu thinks you can still play with Play-Doh too, because the Crazy Rich Asians director and writer Emily V. Gordon of The Big Sick are duoing to make a Play-Doh movie coming soon. Actually, our friends of Variety report that the prospective picture will be written by the Oscar-nominated screenwriter with John M. Chu producing, and he's definitely going to direct. It says potential, but usually it's almost usually a done deal. The team looks forward to bringing the audience a moldable, pliable, and iconically scented story about the importance of imagination. Chu and Gordon stated. Lance Johnson and Jane Lee will oversee Chu's Electric Somewhere banner. Gordon will executive produce with Jillian Scher, Chanel Vidal, and Stephen Holster overseeing for E1. So after news of the project broke, Emily Gordon tweeted a brief explanation, writing, John and I had a series of conversations about creativity, imagination, and the purpose of arts that were so fun and juicy that I knew I had to do this. She added, I'll get to use some of my play therapist training too, maybe. So, Cousin Chris, what do you think of this? Play-Doh.
Well,
do we need this? Is it what the world is asking for? Is hot in the streets?
Right. Yeah. I don't know who asked for this, but after watching the Lego movie, I don't count projects like this out.
Yeah, it sounds just like Lego movie.
Yeah.
In terms of like, concept and everyone being mad at it.
There's a lot of interesting things you could do with that. It is very moldable. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not particularly excited for it. I'm probably not the intended demographic anyway, but I don't know. Where are you anticipating this, Cozy? Are you going to check this out?
I'm definitely going to check it out because of just what they could potentially do. My whole thing is, how will this look? What will they... Well, because with Legos, at least we're like, all right, we know what a Lego looks like.
Right. There's a lot of stuff. Right.
But this is Play-Doh. It's clay. It's like, I guess because
sorry, I was just saying, even with something like Gumby, right? Like he's made of clay or Play-Doh, right? But he's an anthropomorphic being. He's his own kind of guy. He has a horse. He has his own friends. Yeah. But Play-Doh, are we going to make them look like people and they're just different colors, or?
I think it'll be claymation. I think it'll be a really good excuse to bring back claymation, bring back that old style of animation that we haven't seen since the 90s, to tell like a really age-old story, I think, about... I like also what the whole crux of it is, like the importance of imagination, the importance of, just expressing yourself. I think that's always a good message to put in any kind of movie. So I'm all for the message, but just how they're gonna do it and how they're gonna execute this. Until we see a trailer, I don't know. I'm like you. I'm like you. I'm not too excited, to be honest.
I can't wait to see the trailer for this one because I really don't know. But once that trailer drops, we'll keep you posted. We'll see what happens.
All right. Next up, what we got?
All right. Yeah, this one's a bit more interesting. Ladies and gentlemen, Sydney Sweeney has been cast in the Madam Web movie. So this is coming to us from Deadline. After a breakout year that includes starring in roles in HBO's The White Lotus and Euphoria, Sydney Sweeney is now ready to jump into Sony's universe of Marvel characters. Sources tell Deadline that she has joined Dakota Johnson in Sony Pictures' Madam Web. S.J. Clarkson is on board to direct the pick. In the comics, Madam Web is depicted as an elderly woman with myasthenia gravis, and thus was connected to a life support system that looked like a spider web. Due to her age, medical condition, Madam Web never actively fought any villains. So there's a bit of confusion up until this point about how the plot is actually going to play out, or if they're going to change kind of what their angle is. Right. But we'll see what happens. But anyway, regardless of that, Kosi, how do you feel about this Sydney Sweeney casting?
Honestly, I've been saying it for months now. I hope Sydney gets cast in anything outside of Euphoria because she's amazing. So I'm just super happy for Sydney. She's just a great character as Cassie on Euphoria. So layered.
No, she's fantastic.
So many things going on with that character. So to see her.
And you know what's so funny? You texted me the day before this story broke out that what was it? Someone had put a fan casting of her as what was it?
Was it Black Cat?
No, it was Harley Quinn.
Harley Quinn.
Someone had fan cast her as Harley Quinn, and you sent me that, and I was like, Sydney Sweeney. I mean, look, she's good, but I don't know if they're gonna give her a role like that after Euphoria, because if you're familiar with Euphoria, she has a lot of risque scenes in there.
It's definitely not MCU.
Right. It's very different from the MCU. So I had my doubts, but very next day, this story drops. Huge role for her, life-changing for her career.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Crazy. So the only question is, who's she going to play? That's like
right.
the biggest thing.
And I think a lot of people have been fan casting her as Black Cat, which personally I would love. I think that'd be amazing.
Her and Tom Holland together.
Right.
I love that. It's funny. She'd be like she's now the second Euphoria cast member to be in the MCU now.
Right. And that's the great thing, right? She gets cast as Black Cat. Obviously, there's a bit of a love triangle between her, Spider-Man, and MJ. So we could see her being reunited with Zendaya fighting over Tom Holland. So that would be really fun to watch.
I'm really loving this. Because it's not MCU, it's this own little spider universe they're creating. Now we got Kraven on the way, we have Venom and Carnage now we're getting Madam Web. So I love what Sony's doing with this section of their world. Now we have the multiverse complex, so they're really building out their own universe within this bigger multiverse that Marvel has created. So I just love this. I'm just happy for Sydney because she's just
thrilled
great.
for her. Yeah, no, because I mean, if anyone who's seen her work in The Handmaid's Tale or White Lotus, they know that she is a great actress beyond the stuff that you see in Euphoria. Although she is great in Euphoria, she's great acting. It's just it tends to get overshadowed sometimes because of her nude scenes. People tend to have a lot of commentary about that and about her. So
what do you think about that? People have been coming after her just for acting.
Yeah,
I mean, doing what the scene
I know we've talked about this previously. I'm really curious to see that now that she has this kind of clout, now that her career is really taking off, will she continue doing nude scenes on Euphoria? Because Zendaya, obviously, she came into Euphoria as a big star, and she has a clause in her contract that says no nudity. So will Sydney Sweeney go that route, or will she say, no, this is what people expect from the role, and I'm okay with it? I don't know.
She should be able to, I think, because sadly, for female actresses, it kind of takes clout to have you not feel this way about certain scenes or roles. It's the unfortunate part, but we love when they get big roles like this because it gives them that clout. It gives them that power now to go back and say, hey, rewrite this, or hey, no, take that out. So I love that. Or hey, this makes me feel uncomfortable. So the fact that she's now in a position, hopefully moving forward, to really do that, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I mean, and there was obviously a lot of controversy this year on the Euphoria set. There was a lot of rumors flying around about people fighting to avoid doing nude scenes, right? And at one point, Chloe Cherry, who of course came to Euphoria from porn, she had a porn background.
Oh yes.
Her one of her castmates actually had to stand up for her and say, hey, she doesn't need to be nude in this scene. It's completely unnecessary.
Was it Angus that did it?
I believe it was the guy playing her boyfriend on the show. The one who, there's no need for spoilers, but yeah.
Gotcha.
But yeah,
good for him. I'm glad someone said something.
Right? Yeah. So it's hard for an actress when they're just starting out to have that kind of clout. But obviously, Sydney Sweeney now she does. So we'll see what happens with that going forward.
Yeah.
Yeah. But all right, Coast, what else you got for us today?
Let's talk about that Miss Marvel trailer.
Oh, let's talk about it.
Look, I just want to say first and foremost, this is just awesome. Just from, I think this gets harped on a lot, but again, representation matters in every medium.
Yes, it does.
There is. I remember when we were we just little story here. We remember back in 2017, we just got out of seeing The Mummy, the Tom Cruise Mummy. We were in your car, and the Black Panther trailer dropped, and we stopped everything and watched it and just took in just the magnitude of it.
Yeah,
it was just a teaser, but it legit meant everything. Just to see, for people that necessarily haven't seen themselves in media and whatnot, when that finally happens, it really is a big deal. And so whenever I see other groups of people getting their moment now, it just makes me happy because
Yeah.
I remember how that felt. So just to see and it's so different now, especially in this day and age where there's a lot of like people have a lot of opinions on people from that part of the world, people that are Muslim, people that
Right.
are
This is
from
our
the Middle
first
East.
Muslim MCU character.
And
Right?
they unapologetically they made it known in the trailer. Hey, I'm brown. I'm Muslim. I go to mosque, and like they have it. The fact that they embraced it and showed it, and also showed her being a hero.
Yeah.
It was amazing. So I wanted to touch on that initially. So what do you think?
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously, if you've seen the trailer, I enjoyed it. I think it was kind of your classic tale of a high school girl. She's coming of age. She's trying to figure herself out, as well as her own culture. And then she gets these powers, and she kind of has to deal with the baddies that come her way. So obviously, they made a lot of changes from the comic book character.
lot.
I mean, was it Miss Marvel's traditionally depicted as a?
She's an Inhuman.
She is an Inhuman. She has powers like Mr. Fantastic, when she can stretch her body into any size or shape that she
Preferably
neast to.
Her limbs in particular. Can just
Right. Yes.
snake
Her fists, her legs, and here we see a big change. Right. We see that she's wearing these kind of energy gauntlets.
Could
Which
they be
look,
Kree?
They could be
alien?
Kree. They could be alien in nature. They could be the same thing as Shang-Chi's 10 Rings. There's been some rumors about that as well.
Wait, they're ten.
Like they have
are
the
Ten Ring?
no, they have the same origin,
Oh,
basically,
technology.
same kind of technology.
Okay.
But people are speculating that this change was done on purpose to better connect her to Captain Marvel, because obviously Captain Marvel is known for her
Her light energy beams.
right, her light energy.
Magic.
So maybe this technology is based off of her. Maybe it's the 10 Rings, but
Cool. Okay.
whatever the change is, it's a big departure from the character. But I think that's probably they have a plan in mind, basically.
Right. Yeah. I didn't really know that it was that much of a departure from the. Because again, I don't know her origins in the comic books. I knew she was an Inhuman just because
Right.
that's what people were saying. But do you think it's a big deal that they changed it? Is it
Well,
such a
I
huge
mean,
change that it ruins the show or
you know,
the character?
Obviously, when you have a change like that, you're going to upset some part of the fan base, right?
Right.
But I think one of the bigger reasons for the change is probably so as to differentiate her from Mr. Fantastic, which we're going to get soon. You don't need two people with the same stretch abilities that are about to be introduced around the same time. So that might be part of it.
My only argument then is like we have two people that can grow big and small, like Antman and Wasp. We have like two super soldiers.
Well, I
three,
mean,
technically now.
it's one thing if you're like if they're your partner, right? But if it's like just totally two separate characters and they just so happen to have the same powers, I don't know.
Do you think people will be like, oh, is she? You think they'll mix them up together?
I think I don't think there's going to be a mix-up per se. It just might kind of take away from the uniqueness of it. It's like, oh, here's a stretcher, and then here's another stretcher, back to back. No connection. It just
Okay.
a little strange. And it also does make sense for them to connect her more to Captain Marvel because Miss Marvel is always depicted as having this huge reverence for Captain Marvel. She is her absolute favorite superhero. She like basically worships her. So
Her costume is based off of
exactly,
Carol's
her costume is based off her. So if they are making that connection stronger by saying, "Oh, her powers are connected to that," then that's cool. That's an interesting choice.
No, I know I didn't speak on the trailer initially, but you know that song by The Weeknd.
That was great.
It's everywhere.
I love that song choice.
And the fact that, and I kind of forgot that it was like a thing until like they Marvel brought it back, and I love the usage of the light being like in the song, and also light coming from Kamala, and I loved how it was really comic booky how you have the little word bubbles coming out when she was thinking, like, and the Marvel logo was like illustrated and like to show that, like, you know, all she does all day is like doodle on her pad during class. You really did like capture that whole like high school can be monotonous, can be boring, and you know, and imagine like getting powers in the middle of all this. You're like this boy on one day, but then the other day you have like this bracelet that gives you like godlike powers, and like what do you do with that? And I love how Kamala, she is both. She's finding herself as, you know, a woman in the world, but also she's very secure in, you know, her identities from what I'm seeing. She's a brown girl. She's Muslim.
Yeah,
and she's from New Jersey.
And let me ask you this: do you think we'll get to see her dealing with some level of discrimination?
Oh, of course. Marvel does not shy away from like showing. They won't go like super hard, but they're definitely going to show how, you know, the world is when dealing with people that
Right.
are Muslim. I think they're gonna touch on it. Will it be like heavy? I don't think so, but they will touch on it.
Because I mean, we saw them do that with was it Captain
Falcon and Winter Soldier?
Falcon and the Winter Soldier? Thank you. We saw them touch on that with Falcon
Luke
and the Winter
Cage too, a
Soldier.
little bit.
Luke Cage as well, and there have been reports that came out that we're going to be seeing Moon Knight dealing with some mental health issues.
As they should.
Right. So I like the fact that Marvel's using these kind of series to kind of touch on these topics.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
Just expand their storytelling.
Right.
I think a knock that I don't really necessarily agree with, but happens a lot, is people say all of Marvel movies and properties are like the same.
Right.
And
Right.
kind of like they're
Complete oversimplification.
Yeah, and they follow. Yes, I think Marvel, they definitely follow a playbook. I think that's undeniable. There's definitely a playbook and a greatest hits, but directors and producers and actors are given free range within that playbook to interpret and do amazing things. It's how we're able to get like a Black Panther. It's how we're able to get a Shang-Chi. It's how we're able to get now Miss Marvel. It's how we're able to get in the past like a Winter Soldier. Like all those movies are like in themselves, yeah, they have the DNA of the MCU, but they're able to do and tell compelling stories in these. And now Marvel, now they've done everything from like killed half the universe, they've fought Thanos. Now the question is, where does Marvel go? Well, Marvel, they're going smaller, but telling these like rich, giant stories. But
That's a great way to say it.
Smaller scale, like
Exactly.
Kamala, she is not fighting the Kree in space. No, she's just trying to defend her block in New Jersey. And the final frame in that trailer, what I loved is her just sitting on the light post, looking out at the city, and as like it kind of reminded me of Spider-Man. Spider-Man is your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. He kind of defends Queens and makes sure it's good. Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan, like she is defending New Jersey. She's defending her block, and I love that about her. Yeah, I love it.
Good stuff.
Yeah. When does it come out? I think doesn't it come out like
Oh,
this year for sure, but I forgot when.
Give me one sec. Let's see. Miss Marvel release date is June 8th. So
Wow.
not too far off.
Okay. That's actually Oh wow, I was gonna run concurrently with Obi-Wan then.
Ooh,
Wow, cool.
Ooh. We'll
So
see who's winning that competition.
Wow.
Ratings are
Okay.
going to be interesting for those two.
We'll see. All right, so what we got next?
Alrighty, folks. There is a Daredevil reboot coming to Disney Plus with
Affleck, is it?
Charlie Cox
Oh,
still
not
starring.
Ben Affleck.
No, sadly not Ben Affleck,
Have
but
to ask.
I'm sure people are devastated by that, but that's okay.
Wake me up inside.
This is coming to us from IGN. A Daredevil reboot is reportedly set to enter productions and will apparently be a Disney Plus MCU series. The latest issue of Production Weekly, which provides listings of pre-production or in-production projects for film professionals, includes a section for a show simply referred to as Daredevil Reboot. The show is listed as a Disney Plus series currently in development, with head of Marvel Studios Kevin Feige and Chris Gary mentioned as producers. No timing is given for when the show would begin production, however, and there is no listing of which actors will be involved just yet, but we are aware that Charlie Cox would be involved in this were the case, because of his role, of course, in No Way Home. But the listing also includes a synopsis for the show, but this appears to be based on descriptions of the original Daredevil Netflix series. So, Kosi, hearing this, apparently we have a Daredevil reboot on the way. Are you excited?
Of course. I actually loved that first Daredevil season. I was more of a fan of the first season than the other ones. I know that's kind of like the flip. I know folks loved it more so, but I love that first season.
I actually love the first season the most, too.
And just Charlie Cox was such a great Matt Murdock and Daredevil. So I love that. And of course, so seeing him come back in No Way Home, it definitely got people rumbling like, okay, is this guy back in here? And I guess we're semi getting that confirmation that he's back.
Right.
We don't have much on this, so I don't know what more we can say about it, but just to be like, yeah, I'm excited for it. Whatever they're gonna do with it, I'm for it. The fact that it's a reboot, I'm guessing it'll be the same guy, but just a different set of events that made him Daredevil.
Well, we'll see, and that's the thing, because Charlie Cox, he released a statement, I believe, this week, essentially saying that they were going to take elements from Netflix, but there was also going to be some changes.
Okay.
So it's kind of just a wait and see situation. We don't know how much of it is going to carry over, how much of it's going to change, but I hope we get to see a lot of the characters come back from the Netflix series, like Jessica Jones, Luke Cage.
Oh yeah, the other people.
I don't know about Iron Fist, but
Yeah, he can go somewhere else, but yeah.
But yeah, no, this is exciting to see. I love the fact that those Netflix shows aren't dead, despite being moved. So I'm really excited to see what else comes out of this. Not only the Daredevil show, but maybe some of those others might come back as well.
Maybe reboot it too. So yeah, we'll keep our eyes open. So yeah, it's really exciting news.
Yeah. And ladies and gentlemen, with that done and out the way, that is all of our movie news for the week. So let's hop straight into our movie review of the week.
All right.
Kosi, I believe you saw a little film called X.
Man, this movie's anything but little, Chris. So look, I am a horror aficionado. I love horror movies. It's one of my favorite genres ever. So whenever there's a new horror movie coming out, I'm always right there. It's opening day almost to see it. This new one, and especially when it's A24. A24 has delivered bangers.
Oh my gosh, A24,
bangers.
like
Straight bangers.
they're just so great.
So this one, I was hooked from the trailer. So this is a movie called X by director T. West. T. West is a director known very well in the horror world. He's done movies such as House of the Devil, directed a segment in VHS. He also had a small bit part in Your Next, which is a great Adam Wingard film that came out back in 2013. So yeah, he's definitely been in the horror game for a good decade now. So this is his newest film that he directed. It has a great cast: Mia Goth, Jenna Ortega, Kid Cudi, Scott Mescudi, Brittany Snow, round out the cast. So it's, how do I put this? It is a love letter / throwback to the late 70s, like early 80s
Gotcha.
movies.
Did they kind of use that in the footage? Like, do you see it as kind of a bit more grainy, things like that?
Yes.
Okay.
Because they are a film crew. They are a pornographic film crew. So there are a lot of shots that are caught on millimeter cameras. So it's grainy.
Very cool.
Even how it's shot looks like it's even shot looking like this could be an old school. A huge influence I think T. West took was from Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The first one, the very first one from 1974. That's a big one. Not only because of just where it's set on a farm, but just how it's shot, the look, the feel, and the characters. It has a very it's an eclectic group of characters. Mia Goth, she plays Maxine. She's go-getter girl. She just wants to get her big break, and this big break happens to be a starring role in a pornographic movie. So
it happens.
It happens. It's 1979. You're in Houston. You meet a nice guy. He tells you, "Hey, you want to be in a movie?" And here she is driving out to Clear Lake area to film a scene. So the cast rounds out Jenna Ortega, who's had a gigantic year. Jenna Ortega.
Oh my gosh, I love her.
Jenna Ortega's been in 3 horror movies, and it's not even April. She's been in Scream, which she was great in. She was in Studio 666.
Was she in Studio 666?
Yes,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, the David Grohl movie, and now she's in this one. So she's been having such a great 2022.
People are already calling her like the new Scream Queen. Like she's reigning.
From what I've seen, she is a bona fide Scream Queen, and she'll be in a lot of stuff moving forward. She did a great job. She plays a camera operator.
Okay.
And she and her boyfriend, who was the director, played by Owen Campbell, are having rewrite issues. It's kind of like, I love their dynamic because it's like the writer and the person that's filming what's being written are having their squabble, but they're also dating. So it's like that dynamic. So I love that. And Kid Cudi. He's my favorite artist in the world, so I love just watching him. He's come a long way from Need for Speed.
I love Need for Speed. I know it's not the best movie, but it's a fun time.
Look, I think wasn't Jesse from Breaking Bad.
Yeah, Jesse from Breaking Bad.
He's in it. And some other people are in it too.
Dakota Johnson is actually in there too.
Dakota Johnson's in it. The guy that played Howard Stark, the younger version.
What?
He's in it. He's the bad guy.
Oh, I know who you're talking. What is his name?
It's Dominic West.
Might be Dominic West.
It could. Hold on. I'm good. If I don't figure it out.
Now we have to look this up. Yeah.
But while you look that up, it's so this cast that they have in 22 in X really does make it stand out because
Dominic Cooper. Sorry.
Dominic Cooper. Thank you. So this cast in X really does help make it stand out. And T West is such a great director when it comes to like getting really good performances out of his actors and actresses. And yeah, when, not to like really give too much away, because I really do hope people go out and see this movie, T West really has a love for horror. He has a love for suspense, has a love for gore. There's definitely a lot of sick kills in this movie. They do not skimp on people getting mutilated. And
can I ask you this? Is the killer using a lot of different weapons, or is it the same one? Does he have a signature weapon?
Different weapons.
Different weapons.
This killer uses everything that they could get their hands on to dispose
Interesting.
of people.
Okay.
And they use there's one very, very interesting kill that happened. I've never seen a kill like this before in a movie. So it's very great.
I've never thought about this before, but how important is it for horror films to have a killer with a signature weapon? Because we've always seen that, right? We've seen Michael Myers has his knife, Freddy has his claw, Jason has his machete.
Right.
Does it hurt your slasher flick villain if they don't have a signature weapon? Are they less memorable?
I don't think it doesn't make it, I think they are still as memorable, but not as memorable. As you said, all those guys you had,
because it's iconic, right? Yeah, you have your signature weapon. Yeah, so I don't know.
So I think to answer your question, yeah, it'll definitely help. But in this case, I think you're still a slasher if you pick off a group of people one by one, like
using whatever you can find.
As the movie progresses, someone like a Chucky. Chucky is considered a slasher, but he's opportunistic like the killer in this movie too. He uses what he can. So this killer is very resourceful. This killer is someone that, you know, and I love how this movie actually like gave a lot of background and reason to why the slasher is slashing.
Oh, we get a good background story.
And not like background, and also just context as to why it's happening. That's something that's lost a lot in slasher. Usually slasher just gets to let's kill, let's meet the people, let's kill them. This one, we meet the people, and for the first hour we're like kind of getting to know everybody, and then the second half of the movie is all like kills. But the lead up to it, we definitely get to learn a lot about why this person is doing what they're doing and what motivates them. And I love that, because that's missing a lot, especially in horror movies, because they kind of just flow that away.
So let me ask you this. Hopefully we can ask this without giving too much away. Yeah. But traditionally in horror films, there's kind of this there's a trope, right, where girls and individuals who are virtuous and chaste, like they don't hook up or have sex, they tend to survive, whereas people that sleep around or like are having promiscuous sex, they tend to get killed. Does the film kind of play on that? Because obviously we have a group of people making a porno.
It's funny you say that, yeah.
So is that kind of like, are they playing with the trope? Is that why they chose that?
No, they most definitely play with the trope.
Okay, yeah. I mean, don't say any more, but I just thought that was an interesting choice.
It's definitely it has something to say about that trope.
Okay.
It also has something to say about the whole, because this is 79, the whole sexual liberation of women.
Interesting.
It has something to say about both of those things. Whether you agree with it or not is up to the viewer, but it definitely has something to say about both of them, and how even liberation when it comes to young and old and rich or poor, it kind of covers all that. Black and white, it also covers that. So it's a movie about sexual liberation and how that's used, sometimes to horrifying degrees. But yeah, and I know we're running out a little bit out of time here, but the one thing I loved about this movie also was T. West, the director. He had so much fun making this. He went ahead and filmed an entire other movie while making this movie. Oh,
that's what is this, a continuation or?
So this movie, again, not to give too much away, but the movie he filmed is a backstory on the farm and the slasher in this movie, where it's a backstory on how the slasher became the slasher. What happened is it's a prequel.
Oh, we got a prequel. Okay,
it's a prequel movie that's T said it's in the can. It's shot already.
Wow, that is insane.
Yeah, very rarely do we see a director create their own IP, capitalize on it. Clearly, with the opening weekend and the audience reaction, capitalize on it, and then have a follow up ready to go.
That's fantastic. I love that he was so proactive about it. That's great.
Yeah, so we could possibly see that prequel come out next year. So I'm really excited. Please get out to theaters and see this. It's a great movie. I'm not sure how you feel about it.
No, I mean, after hearing this, I'm pretty excited to see it. I'm going to go watch it this week. That was great.
But yeah, it's out in every theater now. But yeah, I'm really excited for that. But coming up, just to give everybody a little sense now, we're coming up on now the next week, and next week's has a quite a bit of movies coming out. Everything Everywhere All at Once is something that
Is that next week?
That is next week.
Oh, I can't wait for that. Reviews are amazing for it already.
So look out for a review from us from that. That's something that it's been highly anticipated for me this year. Another A24 movie. A24 has now put out a slasher movie and now a multiversal rom-com action family drama.
Yep.
And
it's going to be a good time,
they're
folks.
Not stopping. So yeah, but that's all I got for my movie review.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for joining us for another episode of The Real Couch Guys. I am Chris.
And I'm Kosi, and no matter what your opinions are on movies, love them or hate them, just know there's always room on this couch. Thanks, guys. See you next week.
See you guys.